right, we have spent the last couple days on this first formal bullet, solving multi-step equations. We've done justifying steps, we've used properties of equalities. We're getting to this tomorrow. Today, we are solving variables on both sides. Found it. We're doing the third bullet and we're solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So, here's what you do. Steps for solving any equation in the whole entire world. The first thing you want to do is distribute if you need to. That is number one in our order of ops. It's like that parentheses in PEMDAS. You always want to distribute if you need to. The second thing that you do, you combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. For example, if I had something like this, my step 2 would be to combine my 2x and my 1x. You don't do the opposite when it's on the same side. You only do that inverse operation when you move it to the other side of the equal. So this would turn to 3x equals 5x plus 2. So that's what I mean by same side. Left side, right side of the equal sign. The third thing that you're going to do, and it's part of combining like terms, you want to move your variable to one side of the equal sign. So you need to get them together because remember solving, the definition of solving is getting the variable by itself. So I need it together in order to get it alone. And then you'll solve. So distribute, like terms, move the variable, solve. Distribute, like terms, move variable, solve. So let's apply it. Okay, this first example, do you need to distribute? No, there's no parentheses with a number. But I need to combine like terms on the same side. So I'm going to turn that to plus a negative 9x. And 2x plus a negative 9x is negative 7. So negative 7x plus 3 equals negative 3x plus 11. All right, so that was step 2. Notice I don't do the opposite when I do this. And maybe you want to put a little note to yourself. Don't do the inverse when you're on the same side. That is the most common mistake kids make. They feel like they want to plus 9x to 2. You don't do that. Step 3 is to get the variable to one side. What we usually try to tell kids is move your smaller variable because then you don't have to deal with negatives as much. So negative 7 is smaller than negative 3. So you could move your negative 7x by adding 7x. Add 7x. Three equals negative 3 plus 7 is 4x plus 11. Now you solve as normal. Move what's not connected. That's my 11. And then I'll move my 4. So the inverse of adding 11 is subtracting. What do you get? Negative 4? That's what I meant. Negative 8x. No, negative 8 is 4x. I got this. Negative 8 equals 4x. Divide by 4 and you get x equals a negative 2. All right, let me summarize again my steps. First, distribute. Second, combine like terms, not doing the inverse operation. Okay, you don't do inverse. Third, move variable. And fourth, solve. And that's why we needed to do the 1 and 2 step equations before we jumped right to that first bullet. All right, so first distribute. I can distribute here. I'm going to plus a negative though. And I'm going to distribute on the right side. So I hope you're a master at distributing. Remember, all you do is multiply when you distribute. So 2 times 5 is 10x plus 2 times negative 3, negative 6, equals negative 2 times x, negative 2x, negative 2 times 4, negative 8. So that was step 1, I distributed. I'm just modifying my step 2. I want you to realize it's the same side of the equal sign. So step 2, I'm looking. Is there anything I can combine on the right side of the equal sign? Nope. Is there anything I can combine on the right side of the equal sign? Nope. So I don't need to do step 2. So now I'm moving to step 3. I'm going to move my variable. Which one should I move? Which one's smaller? 10 or negative 2? Which one's smaller? Negative 2. So I'm going to add 2x. Notice why I'm adding. Some of you are going to want to subtract because you're going to see the plus sign. But this is a negative 2x. You'll add it to move it. 12x plus a negative 6 is equal to negative 8. How do you move that negative 6?
Addition.
I sure do. Addition it. So I'm going to plus 6, plus 6. You're going to get a fraction for an answer. I see it now. 12x equals negative 2. How do I move that 12? Divide. Divide. X equals a negative 2 twelfths. Simplify, negative 1 sixth. And I'm done. I'm done, and I know I'm done because my variable's by itself. That's how I know I'm done. Okay, so again, you just move through the steps. 2 more problems, and they're the hidden negatives. They are the most tricky ones for 8th graders, 9th graders, pretty much all the way up through seniors struggle with this, and adults. Plus a negative. This is why we plus a negative. It's because these hidden negatives. So the whole reason is because we don't want you to get messed up with these. Distribute. 8 plus a negative 2x plus a positive 6. Do you see where that came from? Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6 equals 4x plus a negative 8. That's step 1. Step 2, combine like terms on the same side. So there's a left side and a right side. Is there anything I can combine on the left side? 8 and 6. Don't do the inverse. You only do that when you go to the opposite side. So 8 plus 6 is 14, correct?
Yeah.
So this would be negative 2x plus 14 equals,
4x plus.
yep, I can't combine anything over there, so it's just 4x plus a negative 8. So that was step 2. Now I'm at move my variable. So I want to move my smaller one. Which one's my smallest one, negative 2 or 4?
Negative 2.
Negative 2 is the smallest.
Negative 2.
So I plus 2x plus 2x. Why am I plussing? Because this is negative 2. So when the inverse of negative, we want to cancel it. So you want a negative and a positive right next to each other to cancel. 14 equals 6x plus a negative 8. Almost done. Now what do I move? The 6 or the negative 8? I move the negative 8 because that's not sticking to it. So plus 8, what is that, 22?
Correction.
22 is 6x. Do you love this? X is, now divide by 6, 22 divided by 6. Don't turn it to a decimal, please. Keep it as a fraction, but I do need to simplify it. 11 thirds. X is 11 thirds. And last one. So the key here, please turn it to plus and negative. By please, I mean do it, okay? Here, yep, this is -1, good eye. You're distributing a -1. And then I'm turning this to plus a -9. Distribute 5 plus -4x plus -1 times 3 is -3 equals -3x plus negative, that's a 9. So I did that. Step 2, combine like terms on the same side. My left side, is there anything I can combine on my left side?
5 and
I can combine 5 and -3. Don't do the opposite. It's not 5 plus 3. It's the same operation since we're on the same side. So 5 plus a -3 is what, 2? So you have -4x plus 2 equals -3x plus a -9. You move what's smaller. So that was step 2. Now we're on 3, move the variable. Which one's smaller, -4 or -3? -4 is, because there's more negatives. Plus 4x, plus 4x. Remember, you should have opposite signs when you're doing the inverse operation. 2 equals -3 plus 4 is a +1. So just x plus -9. Get rid of -9 by adding 9. 11 equals x, or x equals 11. So, just to summarize, what you want to do first is distribute, combine like terms on the same side, move variable, the smallest one, solve.